Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our Global TV Deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't for me again. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and I resort to cry. You can't for me again. But we go to eat the money, what you at you, in no at you. Go be money, miss away in the yellow correct you. You say you the money, miss the most amount statue. Say me like a catch you, but bigger than a figure you. Take this bit of money, girl, and say that is not you. On the head, the man, I'm moving up, you're not got a bedroom. But it in the kitchen, some of my bella papa too. When singers and DJs are social media, that's coming at you. It on me. 300% raise. It on me. Garbage pile up the day. It on me. Give the teacher them raise. It on me. I see corruption please. It on me. Mash down the people them house. It on me. Every day appear arms out. It on me. Appear money them a thief. It on me. And them a sell out the beach. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't for me again. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and I resort to crime. You can't for me again. For me say big up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The already promises none of them not deliver. Cut up the youth, they rub and they down in our fever. Member bowl only and they like them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them smell. When police don't a market like Satan, not a hell go mash up. People start that thief for themselves. It on me. On the TV market man. It on me. On them a treat the cat man. It on me. On the TV peanut man. It on me. On them a treat the dirt man. It on me. On them a treat the son man. It on me. On them a treat policeman. It on me. All them a treat soldier man. It on me. How them a treat everyone. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down.
It's a good morning, good evening to you on the Eastern timeline, and welcome to the second round or rebroadcast of the second round of the national debates. Thank you all for joining us this evening. I hope you all turn up with your wheelbarrows and shovels, because you know the work we have to do this evening. We have to do the cleanup. I was making it easy for the cleanup woman. So that's our job this evening, is to clean up after the mess that we expect to leave this evening of the Jamaica Labour Party. The team for Jamaica Labour Party is headed by the Finance Minister, Auntie Favorall, the Dipsy Doctor, and of course the Doctor of Debt. The People's National Party is led by Favorall Opposition Julian Robinson, Peter Bunting, and Keisha Anderson. It won't be long before the debate starts, so we're just here. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Have a one-hearty good evening from me, all of you. Me just wake up, so me eye foggy and all that, but good evening, welcome. Thank you all for joining us. We are waiting for the national debates. As soon as they start, we will turn over to them. But we expect tonight to be, well, go on, JC. We expect tonight to be another round of massacre for the Jamaica Labour Party. As we reminded you this morning, somebody please bring your shovel and your wheelbarrow, because we will have to scrape up their old Favorall this evening out of the building when Julian Robinson is finished with her. What are you hoping for this evening? What do you think it will turn out to be? I think it will be a massacre, just like last evening. I think it will be a massacre, just like last evening. But we await the turnover when it starts. What do you expect to hear this evening? More lies from the Jamaica Labour Party? You think the Minister of Finance will have another pro-box emotional breakdown? Do you think the Jamaica Labour Party has the quality candidates to win tonight's debate? What are your thoughts leading into the debate, given Favorall's performance in Parliament, given Favorall's dismal performance at the last budget presentation? What are you expecting from Favorall this evening? Are you expecting a crush out from Favorall? Or are you expecting Julian Robinson to use her to literally wipe the floor? Chris Tufton, that we could use Dana as the toilet brush. What would we use Chris Tufton for? I mean, Chris Tufton is always burying the bodies, isn't it? Dr. Tufton is always burying the bodies. So we can leave the job to Dr. Tufton to make sure he buries the dead of the Jamaica Labour Party after this evening. Wahala. This will be a wahala this evening, you know, Jamaica. A wahala. You don't want to see. 1 second. Let me get my remote. And to all my TikTokers, when the debate starts, then the light will go down, so you will have a better presentation from your screen. But we're awaiting the crucifixion of Favorall this evening. We probably at the end will be singing "Abide with Me, Fast Falls the Eventide" this evening. But given Favorall's performance in Parliament, we are not expecting much from her. And of course, as the finance minister, no doubt she's leading the charge for her team this evening. I'm sure Julian is going to get under her skin. Peter Bunting is going to get under Chris Tufton's skin. Now, Dana and Keisha, we have to balance their performance. We have to, I think, for me, Dana's performance and Keisha's performance, Dana and Keisha, I'm going to wait until after the massacre, then I judge their performance. But given what we know or what we have seen in the past, lion lips, Dr. Tufton. The lion lips of Dr. Tufton this evening, you are going to hear. I mean, Andrew will be on like 10,000 milligram of steroid, while Dr. Tufton will come this evening with about 5,000 to 6,000 milligrams of steroid. But Dr. Tufton this evening will be as pumped up. Dr. Tufton will be as pumped up. He will be lying on steroid this evening, similarly to when the Prime Minister comes to the debate to face Mark Golden. Favour, the problem is getting her point across this evening is my worry for Favour. Answering any question completely and getting her point across is going to be, for me, the greater part of Favor's problem this evening. We just have to wait to see the showdown. As we said, the wheelbarrows are here. The shovels are here. The cleanup will then start after that defeating end tonight to the Jamaica Labour Party debating team. Why we know they're going to lose? Look at Favor's previous performances. They're all dismal. Nothing in Favor performances or debating skill or speech in her presentation. There's really nothing to write home about. You would be wasting your time, literally, if you pick up a pen to write about Favor presentation. There's just no life in her in that manner to really take on a titan like Julian Robertson and a hawk in the business long time in the image of a Peter Bunting. She is just not prepared or ready for anything like this, I don't think. Don't know what Dana is expected to contribute, given how since she came to the Jamaica Labour Party is here, there, and everywhere. Dana, it really is. So, as I said, I'm going to wait until after to judge Dana's and Keisha's performance. But I think we could fairly say Favor will be a mess. Dr. Tufton will lie his entire way through. His entire way through. Dr. Tufton is going to lie his entire way through. So I don't think there will be any surprise tonight from Dr. Tufton's tongue wagging. It won't be literally more than that. Literally tongue wagging. That's all I'm expecting from Dr. Tufton this evening. Nothing substantial, nothing honest. It will just be the same old that we've always used to with Dr. Tufton. The detouring from the question asked, go out on a constant attack against the People's National Party. I expect the name and the words of Finsack to be swinging from tree to tree tonight, because Dr. Tufton is going to do everything. I wonder if it is possible to squeeze a question on the health care in the economic debate, because as we know, the Prime Minister gave a mandate to his people. Everything you do must lead back to economic growth and job creation. So somewhere, somehow, it ought to be possible tying in a question on how our healthcare is doing, as opposed to how it reflects on how well our economy is doing, rather, and how well that reflects the investment into our health service. I'm sure the doctor would go off on a waddle of how he raised the budget, and I'm sure he would go on to tell us it's because of Fenton Ferguson and Portia Simpson's fault, that even though he has 9 years to correct if it was their fault, he is nowhere closer to correcting what he's blaming others of. So expecting from the Jamaica Labour Party tonight will be pretty much more of the same old. For the People's National Party, we expect the trend to continue. Classiness, coherency, and being able to answer the question posed to them, and not a waddle on to distract the viewers from them not answering the question and just go on a witch hunt about anything else. I'm hoping for another blunder tonight from the Jamaica Labour Party. There's not much to expect. There's not much you can say of the People's National Party. You've seen their performance across the country. You've seen the way Mount Golden manifesto was presented to the nation, as opposed to the Jamaica Labour Party Chaka Chaka, which to date, I still am not hearing anyone speaking of any highlights from the Jamaica Labour Party Copy Festo noisy parade that took place in Samshap Square on Sunday. The highlight, I would argue, coming out of that is the big steal from them. The big steal of how Andrew Holness deliberately, what we expected him to do, to steal from Mark Golden's manifesto. Wagwan Nick HQ. To steal from Mark Golden's manifesto and then tell the world, just like I'm telling you, I already have a rent-to-own policy. If the Prime Minister could just point to the pages in the book, which part it right, because we know that you can't point to the actual project in our country. Just point to us in the book. Point us in the book, Prime Minister. Make we read for ourselves and sit on our eye a fool with. So that's the direction we're expecting from the Jamaica Labour Party Lies, lies, and more lies. Is it a case as well, one should ask, where just one person, as Emily Shields told us, turn up in the first debate from the Jamaica Labour Party, while the other two was sitting at home watching on the telly? Or the whole of them are going to come, or none of them not going to come? I'm sure the team could do well tonight without Favor. Favor will be the first car crash, I believe, tonight. I cannot see Favor crossing it. How could she? Just look back in your head at Favor weak and dismal performances over the dispatch box in Parliament. That's a sign of where Favor will end up tonight. And mind you, parliamentary debate is what they're well rehearsed for and right and galang in where them are come lie to about. As opposed to she might get hot off the press questions which she have to dance and baffle and fumble over. Now the anger tonight from the Jamaica Labour Party will be coming from Dr. Tufton. Dr. Tufton is a guy who pretty much gets worked up like Andrew Holness when asked a question. That anger is to shift you away from what you really ask and to further confuse you without them even answering the question at all. So we expect that subtle anger this evening from Dr. Tufton. Like we saw on Matthew Samuda's face, it might even come out of Dr. Tufton's belly this evening. As you know, he doesn't like when journalists ask him questions. So we're not, based on experience, we're not hopeful of the Jamaica Labour Party. At the end of tonight's debate, we'll say one each. So the next debate, the next round between the leaders is going to be the balancing round to take either side through to the final. But we can be almost certain by the time we get to the end of tonight, it will all be over and done. Nothing to see or nothing to hear. It all will be over and done. Let us quickly play back this video that we played this morning on the issue of the health care with this young man and the assistant he's seeking. Dr. Dawes himself, because I sent the video to Dr. Dawes with a message. Dr. Dawes is aware of the video because he said he commented under the video asking the young man to reach out to him, but the young man has not contacted him. If anyone in the Linstead area do know this young man or his mother, please reach out to Dr. Dawes, or you can reach out to me and I will put you in touch with Dr. Dawes if you don't have contact with him, or if you can ask this young man if you know him or his parents to get in touch with Dr. Dawes or Global TV so we can make the connection. But Dr. Tufton is coming on in in the next 10 minutes. Let us listen again as to why Dr. Tufton found himself in the wrong debate, in the economic debate, rather than in the social issues debate.
Reaching out to Marky G, Damian Crawford, and Dayton Campbell. Blessings to each and every one of you. I reached out this morning because it's very concerning. My mother got discharged from, my mother is a retired teacher, retired educator. And I carried her to Linstead Hospital because she could not walk properly and she couldn't hold her bladder, right? And she's just 57 years of age. So, because like she can't see out of one of her eyes, so she had to get early retirement, right? She ended up went blind, out of one eye, partially blind. So, as I said, I carried her to Linstead Hospital to get the surgery, to get them check up on her, right? So I carried to Linstead, to have them find out what is going on, because it's concerning to me how my mommy is just not moving as though she should. After carrying mommy there, they did an MRI on my mother. They sent us to do an MRI, carried mommy to do it. Waited on the result, carried back my mommy and the result. They admitted mommy there. They contacted the Kingston Public Hospital because they don't have a neurosurgeon there. So they contacted the Kingston Public Hospital. Kingston Public, they told them that they had to get a CT scan done to confirm the MRI result. They carried my mommy in the ambulance, get the CT scan done, carried back my mommy to Linstead Hospital. Then after getting the CT scan done on my mother's brain, they carried back my mother and said that my mommy would have to go to the Kingston Public Hospital to see the neurosurgeon. So I asked them if mommy is going to travel by ambulance, right? Because I don't have a personal vehicle. They said no, the ambulance are unavailable, which I'm looking at the ambulance on the compound. And they're saying that I would have to carry mommy to the Kingston Public Hospital, appearing to buy public transportation. So what happened?
Sorry, Victor.
I carried mommy. So they discharged. So they said that they were going to discharge mommy. So they discharged mommy on the Wednesday, right? And said that the appointment to see the neurosurgeon would be on the Thursday, the following day. So my mother asked them, because we live in Clarendon, right? So my mother asked them if she could just sleep there for the Wednesday night, so the Thursday morning we could make it to.
Oh, actually, they live in Clarendon, but they attend the Linstead Hospital. So if anyone in Clarendon know of the family, just ask them to get in touch.
Kingston Public Hospital early, right? To see the neurosurgeon, because they explained to us that it's on ticking time bomb. It's on brain aneurysm. It's on swollen blood vessel that in my mother's brain, that they say if her blood pressure should go up, it can.
What on earth is going on?
Burst, and it can bleed out and she can die. So what happened is that mommy asked them if she could sleep there. They agreed for mommy sleeping there the Wednesday night. No, the Thursday morning.
Dan Campbell, wake up.
Went to collect my mother from the Linstead Hospital and bring her to the Kingston Public Hospital, right? After arriving at the Kingston Public Hospital, I saw that the neurosurgeon, I saw the neurosurgeon, right? Seeing the neurosurgeon, when I looked in her hand, I saw that the IV device was still in my mother's hand. So that was shocking to me. So I went to the Kingston Public. So I spoke with the neurosurgeon after speaking. So I spoke with the neurosurgeon. I bring mommy straight to the neurosurgeon because, they said it was an
Raymond, you're
emergency.
there.
So I carried mommy to the neurosurgeon. When they spoke to the neurosurgeon is letting me know that I gave him the referral and everything. He's letting me know that he cannot do the surgery. They cannot do the surgery. And reason being, they don't have the equipment for them to do the surgery. And that is one that is concerning because health is priority. They tell us that health is priority. Health comes first, right? And if the hospitals are lacking the equipment and lacking the proper trained doctors and nurses, that means when persons go to get care, they're just going to die. And this is sad because apparently they left my mommy to die, right? And to know that my mommy is a retired educator and be treated like this, it is really sad. It is really sad. And this is the reason why I choose to vote. Because I'm 30 years of age. I've never voted before. Never voted before. But this I have to stand up and vote because this is corruption. This is sad. My mommy is a retired teacher. There's no way a retired educator, a government worker, should be treated this way, right? Because what the neurosurgeon did at the Kingston Public Hospital, they gave us another referral to go to the UC Hospital and telling us that we have to pay over $2 million to get the surgery done on my mother's brain. And we do not have it. We do not have it. And right now, my mom is still having to get the surgery done. My mommy still has the aneurysm in her brain and it's still ticking, apparently, as what the Linstead Hospital says. So I'm just asking you all, please, to assist me. I'm seeking some assistance in this matter, please. And also, please, to improve the hospitals, because the hospitals, you're Marky G, and you see that entire Jamaica is saying you, Marky G. We're fed up. It's been too much. It's been too much. We've been suffering, and like, yo, it's. I'm
Okay,
asking you,
Ladybug,
please,
no
as our
problem.
next Prime Minister, Mr. Golden, I'm asking you to please make the hospitals be a priority because we have the worst healthcare system
The
here
system
in the
has come
Caribbean.
live, so
And
we
this is
will
sad.
go over to the
I feel
national
like this is
debate.
the worst healthcare system because there's countless persons crying. There's countless persons dying. So I'm asking you, please, to when you're going as our next prime minister, please to ensure that the hospitals are priority. Please to ensure that they are fully equipped. Please, Mr. Golden. And I'm asking.
We'll go over to the debating channel as they have come live, I think, but nothing is happening yet. Oops. We await. Hold on. We're waiting for them to come on screen, my peeps. The link has gone live. So we are waiting on them to start. As soon as they start, we will go silent and watch the massacre unfold of particularly the finance minister tonight. I'm sure at the end of tonight's debate, Favor will be ushered out in a wheelbarrow. I mean, Mr. Coolan did ask this morning if we want bags to bag her up as well, but I really don't think we need any bags tonight. Why the debating channel? Hold on there. Anyway, they should come live. They are live already. It's just that nothing is coming from them. That glare, YouTube, is because of the projector light. Basin. Okay.
Welcome to the General Elections Debates, brought to you by the Jamaica Debates Commission in association with Scotiabank. For every future, Kendall, the taste of quality. Flow, NCB, ARC Manufacturing, Water, JN Group, Lasco Foundation, Pan Jamaica Group, Miss Birdie, H&L Homes, and VM Group. Tonight, we focus on the economy. Our moderator is George Davis.
Why? Why the fuck? Sorry.
Welcome to the second of the political debates organized by the Jamaica Debates Commission and staged before a live studio audience. The debates are intended to assist in identifying, clarifying, and understanding the issues being presented in this.
The general elections.
This evening's debate focuses on the economy and is a team debate. Members of the panel of questioners are Andrea Chisholm, TVJ, Al Edwards, Our Today online financial magazine. Taking and presenting questions from the public is our social media editor, Amoy Harriet, CVM TV. I am your moderator, George Davis. As is customary, the audience is not to applaud the debaters, except for now, after we announce each team. For Team JLP, Dana Morris Dixon. For Team PNP, Julian Robinson. For the JLP, Favour Williams. For the PNP, Keisha Anderson. And for the JLP, Chris Tufton. And for the PNP, Peter Bunting. The guidelines for tonight's debates have been previously agreed and are posted on the Debate Commission's website at www.jamaicadebatescommission.com. The guidelines include questions being no longer than 30 seconds and each team being allowed 90 seconds to respond to each question, and rebuttals are limited to 45 seconds. The questions posed in tonight's debate will come from two sources. The first source is you, the public. Send us your questions via direct message on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to Jamaica Debates. These will be checked, selected, and asked by our social media editor. The second source of questions is from our panel of journalists. Questions are not influenced by the Jamaica Debates Commission in any way. Providing sign language interpretation services this evening is Ms. Jane Litchmore, who teaches sign language at an international level and who previously provided sign language services on the former Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation and Television Jamaica, and who also represented the Jamaica Association for the Deaf. Now, based on a previous coin toss, the first question tonight comes from Andrea Chisholm, and it will be directed to Team PNP.
The PNP has promised to move the income tax threshold to $3.5 million starting April 2026 without any new taxes. How much will it cost? Is the timeline realistic? And which programs will be adjusted to accommodate the increase?
Thank you for that question, Andrew. We are committed to implementing the 3.5 threshold starting April 2026. This will be funded from revenue growth, which currently, based on the 1% growth, is projected to generate an additional revenue of $140 billion over a 3-year period. Additionally, we expect within the envelope that exists in the budget has 4 main components. You have debt servicing, you have salaries and wages, you have the capital budget, and then you have the programmatic budget. as a political party, we would have our own priorities, and we will look at the programmatic budget and make adjustments there. But we will begin implementing the 3.5 million threshold April 2026. However, there are other programs that we have announced that once we assume office, we will immediately, within the envelope that exists for programs, see how we will implement them. For example, ensuring that every needy child gets a hot meal per day. The first in family who goes to university to have a full scholarship. And also the $500,000 grant, which will be given to young first-time owners. So we are going to ensure that we do this in a responsible way fiscally without affecting the budget.
Thank you, Team PNP. Thank you, Team JLP, your rebuttal.
Lies, lies, lies. It cannot be done without imposing new taxes on the backs of Jamaicans. Your 3.5 is the biggest political scam.
Straight out of the box on the attack.
It cannot be done. You were the people who said when we introduced the 1.5 that it couldn't be done. It would wreck the budget. How do you get from 1.5 to 3.5? It's 3.5 now, right? It used to be 2.3, 3.2, all over the place. Can't be done.
All right. Andrew would like to use the first of her two follow-up questions.
From 14 PNP, I did not hear the cost of the proposed increase in the threshold, nor the programs to be readjusted to accommodate the increase.
The cost of the increase in the threshold would be $55 billion. Now, no political party implements every single thing in 1 year. So we are going to ensure that the implementation is done, which protects the fiscal sacrifices that have been made and will ensure that the adjustments are consistent with the budget. So it's $55 billion that this particular program will cost. And in terms of the readjustment of programs, that is something that we will do once we get into office. When we look, we have priorities which are different from the current government's priorities. And we will make those adjustments within the envelope of $360 billion, which currently exists for programs in the
Thank
budget.
you, Team PNP. Team JLP, you have a rebuttal, 45 seconds.
But first of all, I think we have to be careful about what we hear from that side, because they have been flip-flopping on the issue of income tax threshold and for some time. Their leader has said one thing, then he said he wasn't sure, then he said he wants to do another thing. The principle of increasing the threshold is something that is desirable. Let us be clear, because we did it. We were the ones who came with 1.5. We're moving now to 2.0. And indeed, we are the only government that have reduced taxes in several ways to benefit the Jamaican people. The challenge is the practicality of their solution. This is a one proposal, a proposal to win
Thank you,
votes,
Team JLP.
which can't work.
Thank you, Team JLP. Al, you get the chance to pose the first question of the evening to Team JLP.
Hello, good evening. How do you do? On Sunday, the JLP promised to reduce income tax to 15% over a phased basis if it secures a third term in government. This is estimated to cost the country around $135 billion. Where will the money come from to accomplish this, considering there is a projected to be a $35 billion deficit in the budget, and given that many people work in the underground economy?
I'm not sure where that number came from. Our number, based on the technocrats who did it, put it at between 25 to $30 billion. That's our number. That is doable. We are the party that did the 1.5 in a responsible way. We are the party that moved the threshold from 1.5 to 1.7 to 1.8. Next year it'll be 1.9 and then 2.0. We know how to handle the tax affairs, the revenue affairs of the country, and we are going to move with this in a responsible way over time, ensuring that we continue to give back to Jamaicans. You've seen us do the reverse income tax. You've seen us do a number of initiatives, all with the goal of ensuring that the Jamaican people get back monies in their pockets
Well,
so
don't
that
let
they
everyone
can
say
provide
it.
more for themselves and their families.
This administration has been very much the administration that's pragmatic. We have always said to Jamaica what can be done, and then we have done it. We did it with 1.5, and we're doing it again with 2.0, and also our other proposal in terms of 15% income tax. We never say what we cannot do, unlike
Thank
our
you, Team
opposition.
JLP. Thank you, Team PNP. Your rebuttal. 45 seconds.
I want to remind the country that the 1.5 that they boast about cost the country $31 billion in new taxes implemented by the Jamaica Labour Party. The Minister of Finance is saying her estimate is 25 to 30 billion. She's applying the same Pro Box maths that she said you can use $2,000 a month for buy a Pro Box. The most conservative estimate for their program to reduce the income tax rate is $68 billion. So where do you get your maths from? Tell the country, how will you finance it? Which programs will you cut? Where will the money come from?
Thank you, Team PNP. Social media has a question, Amoy.
Thank you, George. Well, the first social media question tonight comes from Makeda on Instagram. Jamaicans both at home and abroad work tirelessly to support their families and contribute to our economy. Yet high taxes and fees on barrels at the wharf, along with frustrating processes, make it difficult and costly for people sending goods home. If selected to serve, what specific and measurable actions will your party take to reduce these costs and simplify these processes?
Team PNP, 90 seconds.
Thank you. We note the developments in the US and other territories as it relates to remittances, and we're observing the situation. We also note that for Jamaicans going to pick up money at agencies, the cost may increase. And that's why we want to encourage the opening of accounts, and with reduced due diligence requirements for these types of accounts, we think more Jamaicans should exercise that option. I think also, though, we want to take a deeper look at the fact that we're so reliant on remittances. At least 20% of our GDP is based on remittances. We need to find a way in the best interest of Jamaicans to have them earn more. And that's why Team PNP is looking at options to have our economy grow. We're looking at options in agriculture with the Agricultural Development Fund of $2.5 billion, where we want to teach our farmers smarter and more efficient ways to go about farming. We're looking at options in logistics. Given our position, we're ideally placed to offer logistic and trade facilitation. We also want to look at our BPOs and increase the value of the services that are offered through our BPOs by upskilling our workforce and training our young people in heart, etc., to do these things, which are the careers of the future, and not to stick to the careers that now exist.
Team JLP, your 90 seconds, well, your 45, well, your rebuttal.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure if we heard the same question. I heard a question that was about our Jamaicans having to clear barrels at the port. Yeah. And that has been a concern for some of our Jamaicans who do rely on their families overseas to help them. And we, as a country, have always benefited from our diaspora. And that's why we placed so much emphasis on our diaspora policy through our Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That has been very important. And on that matter, we have focused very much on creating efficiencies at the port. And that's important because we understand that we have a larger vision of Jamaica of becoming a logistics hub. We know that this can happen. It is something that the PNP waxed quite well about, this logistics hub, but did nothing. We have been doing work to expand our port, to also improve efficiencies at the port. In addition to that, we have a new Customs Act. We didn't get to the Senate with it, but we took it through the House, which transforms a lot of the framework for our customs area. And so we are working. We understand the plight of our Jamaicans who depend on these. In terms of remittances, that's another area that's very, very important. And we have been doing a lot of our own lobbying in relation to remittances. We've not seen any fall off. We're very happy with our diaspora, and we'll continue to make it easy for our people to benefit.
Time. Thank you very much. We'll now take a short break and invite you to stay tuned.
The general elections debates are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
I think Keisha messed up her question.
Tomorrow's success
In
will
all
depend on the
fairness,
decisions we make today. At the Scotia
in the
Jamaica
broadcast,
Foundation,
in the
supporting the well-being of our
I don't
nation
think
is more
Keisha
than a choice. It's
answered
a
her
heartfelt promise
question
to the communities
as
we
to
serve.
what was
By empowering
really
individuals and organizations,
So,
we are revitalizing
let's hope
communities
she gets
and creating a
on
more
track
sustainable world
further on
for
in
every
the debate.
future.
But so far, Julian Robinson is up for a good start. Favour came out the back attacking. Favour came out straight on the attack, which was expected to a degree. But Dr. Tufton, quite defensive as well. Still nothing yet from Peter Bunting in this round, but for me, Keisha messed up her first opportunity. I hope she gets herself back on point and listens carefully to what the actual question is.
You're at the heart of everything we do.
I'm thinking if she didn't understand the question as well, Kate M, because what she answered was not what was asked of her. So I hope she can get back on track, because that's a slight derailment for the People's National Party team as to her start out. But let's hope she get back on track.
Quality products, quality relations.
And we'll see in the second round how well Peter Bunting is going on or will go on throughout the night. But definitely, I have hopes in Julian Robinson. Favour, goodbye. You can go home now. We've seen you already, Miss Favour. We have seen you, Favour Williams. It's okay. You can go on home now. Or are you waiting for us to pick you up with shovel tonight, put in a wheelbarrow, and usher you out?
Once you're done,
Favour has really lost already.
return it to the presiding officer.
Favour herself is not answering the questions either. The minister is rather going on the attack. Favour herself is not answering.
Byron, you're not gonna see me in the same outfit twice.
Acting as if her body is not in power. But we're telling her all the while, the JLP is very good at playing the opposition game. Remember, so they did stop the for however long enough, so them used to it.
We need to pass the ball quicker, much quicker.
When it comes to opposition, the Jamaica Labour Party is very good.
Your job is to bring the water and keep us hydrated.
Yeah, it's not that Favour didn't understand her question, Debbie. Is that Favour cannot answer the question that was asked of her. So she have to go on or whatever she can do. What you have to understand what Favour does tonight. She's attempting her very best. But as we say already, she can go on home. Or if she want wait for we pick her up in the wheelbarrow, fair enough, Favour we have the wheelbarrow and the shovel at the door where we wait. But you can go on home now. We see her already. But Favor, don't expect
The
let's
general
go back over
elections
to
debates are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission in association with Scotiabank for Every Future, Kendall, The Taste of Quality, Flow, NCB, Arc Manufacturing, Water, JN Group, Lasco Foundation, Pan Jamaica Group, Miss Birdie, H&L Homes, and VM Group. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Welcome back to the Economy Debate presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. We invite you, the public, to send us your questions via direct message on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Send them to Jamaica Debates. Well, we now ask Andrea Chisholm to start this segment with a question for Team JLP.
The public sector wage bill consumes close to 50% of tax revenues. The Independent Fiscal Commission has recommended the reintroduction of a cap on public sector wages as a percentage of GDP. But in March, the Standing Finance Committee of Parliament was told the cap was not being considered. Why was the recommendation ignored?
For the public sector wages, I know when you look back in history, there used to be it calculated as a percentage of GDP. With our current fiscal rules and our debt to GDP rule, those are the two kind of guardrails that we use on the budget to keep everything in line. If we do that, if we keep that focus on our debt to GDP and on our fiscal balance, then everything in the budget will align, and it would not be necessary, it has not been necessary to keep a cap on the wage bill that way as a percentage of GDP. And as a matter of fact, one time in our history, it was done. When you look back, maybe it was only one time that ratio was ever reached. So there's good faith and confidence in the fiscal balance rules and the debt to GDP in order to help us to keep everything in line in the budget.
Can I also quickly say that this government has done the boldest move to reform and restructure the public sector. First of all, we had 300 different salaries packages, 180 different allowances were consolidated into 16, and it has taken time. We need that time to sort that out.
Jamaica's Jamaica's tax burden at 29% of GDP is the highest in the region. Our middle class has been hollowed out by a generation of belt tightening. It is time that our nurses, our teachers, our police officers, our public servants get to enjoy some of the benefits of years of tight fiscal management. It can't always be that when it comes time for the people to benefit, we are talking about managing fiscal rules, etc. We will observe the fiscal rules, but we believe we must do a social transformation for the people.
Time, thank you very much. Question for Team PNP, Al.
The high interest rate FinSec era was devastating for the Jamaican economy. A World Bank debt management paper dated 21/12/2001 reads in part, the ensuing rapid growth of FinSec debt worsened as interest rates continued to rise, leading to a stock debt of $142 billion as of March 2001. That's about 43% of GDP. This added to an already large pre-crisis public debt burden of more than 100% of GDP, leading to an unsustainable debt path. That period also decimated a generation of local entrepreneurs, so much so that a generation later, many are still reticent to invest in the productive sector. What guarantee can you give under your administration that Jamaica will never see history repeating itself, and how do you intend to honor that guarantee?
Well, what we have to ensure is that the agencies that have responsibility for managing and regulating the financial services sector are actually manned by individuals who are competent and professional. The Bank of Jamaica, the Financial Services Commission, ensuring the BOJ now is an independent agency that has the responsibility for managing interest rates and primarily inflation. At the time when FinSAC took place, the government intervened to ensure that all depositors got back their money. What we want to see is the FinSAC report published. The country spent $150 million on a FinSAC commission, and all now we can't get the report. We want the FinSAC report out. And while you're at it, we will publish the SSL report because we noticed that depositors have gotten $2. If them did have $100 and there's only $2 them get back. But the most honorable Prime Minister got all his money out of SSL before it collapsed. That is what justice means. We will publish the SSL report, and it is a failure on their part that after all these years, given the impact of FinSAC, that there is no report, no independent report. What we have seen is drips and drabs being leaked out by that side. So when we talk about FinSAC, let's get all the facts on the table and release the Kroll report from SSL.
Time up.
Interesting that that side can speak as if they're ignorant of FinSAC, when some on that very side were involved during the FinSAC period and benefited. Just recall the 40-40-40. You mentioned it. 40% of GDP to recover from FinSAC. 40,000 businesses lost their money. 40% being offered by merchant banks to make a profit. And DBNG made on average 40% return on their investments, which one of the principles sits across me right here. They cannot talk about fiscal discipline. They cannot talk about management and economy. They presided over the FinSAC era. They drove people in some instances to commit suicide based on news reports. They have no moral authority and certainly no economic management, and they are still there. The Jamaican people cannot trust them.
Thank you, time. Al, you wanted to use one of your two follow-up questions?
The first one, yes.
Proceed.
The JLP government has presided over macroeconomic stability. Public debt has come from over 140% of GDP in 2013 to 70% in fiscal year 24-25. Unemployment now stands at just 3.3%. According to Statin, as of July this year, Jamaica's annual headline inflation rate stood at 3.3%. The Bank of Jamaica says as of August 12, 2025, Jamaica's gross international reserves stood at US 6.2 billion. The World Bank, the IMF, the rating agencies all commend Jamaica for this economic performance. How will a PNP government build upon and improve this trajectory?
I think it's important to set context for the question that you have asked. When they left office in 2011, the country was on the precipice of economic collapse. When we got in 2012, we had to restore Jamaica's credibility. We had to establish EPOC. We strengthened and enhanced the fiscal rules. We legislated the debt to GDP ratio so that any government, PNP or JLP, had to pay down that debt. Portia Simpson Miller and Peter Phillips started that race. We passed the baton. We are the persons responsible for the fiscal responsibility that exists today, and we will continue that when we get into office again.
Time, thank you. The Team JLP, you have 45 seconds to rebut.
I am so glad that you named all of those improvements that we've had in our economy. When the PNP was in government, they took a wrecking ball to our economy, and that's a fact. When we took office 9 years ago, we saw high unemployment, we saw high debt, we saw high crime too, and we saw failing infrastructure. And this administration got to work, working on all of those areas. The PNP does not know how to be fiscally responsible. And we have seen that in our history time and time again. And so the data is there. The data shows the Jamaica Labour Party knows how to do it.
Time. Let's take a question from social media. Amoy?
Well, George, this question comes from Facebook. Nikisha is asking, many schools are without basic resources, and as such, some schools are asking parents to contribute certain resources, whether it be in cash or kind. Seeing that economically, parents are struggling to pay school fees and meet other needs, how will your administration, if elected, resolve this issue so there will be an ease on parents' pockets?
Team JLP?
Thank you for that question, and we definitely understand the burden that a lot of our parents feel. And it is for that reason that we have focused quite a bit on how we can get our children to school. Let me give you some realities from going around to our schools, especially in rural areas. When I go to school on a Friday, classes are sometimes half empty. And when you ask our teachers why, they say money ran out. What keeps them at home? High transportation costs and also the high cost of lunch. And that's what we have decided to focus on. The rural school bus system is precisely because of that. I had one mother in St. Thomas say to me, it costs her $1,200 a day to send one of her children to school, and that it is so expensive that she ends up having to choose which one goes to school sometimes. We cannot have a country like that. In addition to that, in terms of our meals, we have expanded meals to 5 days a week for those on path who need it the most. In addition to that, we're now going to be adding breakfast to our students in our schools that are the most underperforming. All of that on the backs of the hard work of Minister Williams and the Ministry of Finance team. We understand the costs and we're working hard, including in providing more books in the public sector so that our parents can have less of a burden.
Time, Team PNP, your 90 seconds.
Chris, you're correct that DBNG was a very successful company. And it was a publicly listed company that our audited financial statements were open to the public. So everyone knows where Peter Bunting and Mark Golding got their wealth from. You and your prime minister cannot say the same.
Hey,
now, in terms of our arrangements for public transportation, particularly rural school transportation, that school bus system was a political gimmick. We cannot be buying new trucks to transport garbage, and we're buying 15-year-old buses to transport our most precious cargo, our children. That was just an opportunity for somebody to eat a food. Let us be clear about that. It was totally unsuitable. In deep rural communities, we cannot afford parallel transportation systems, a school bus and a system for adults. So what we have proposed is a subsidy of $10,000 per month per child for those parents who need it, for those children who are unable to attend school 5 days a week. What we have proposed is a hot meal every day for those children who need it. That is real progress.
I'm surprised too, Peter, that the Minister of Education is speaking as if she didn't know all of this.
Time. Andrea, your question for Team JLP.
The requirement for a 12-year experience in law enforcement was removed from the January 2025 job advertisement for the position of Chief Technical Director of the Financial Investigations Division. Why was the law enforcement requirement removed?
I want to make it clear that on the job description for the head of the FID, there are a number of different qualifications that an applicant could have. There were at least 6 different skill sets that that applicant could have. When the whole process of going through recruiting was done outside of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. And they went through a very public recruitment process. The job was advertised, interviewed. No one qualified to be accepted. Normally, in the course of advertising for jobs, if you go out once, if you go out twice, and you see that you're not getting the skill set, the particular skill set, and the job description allows you to be flexible, then obviously, as a responsible HR person looking to fill the position, then you would do that. That is what was done. There's nothing underhanded about it. It was all transparent. And we have a very competent person heading the FID currently. And I look forward to
Time,
continue
Team
working with him.
PNP, your rebuttal.
This is not true. I know as a certain fact that senior police officers with investigative experience for many years who have coordinated international investigations, who have headed the Intelligence Bureau, they applied for the job and they were turned down. The truth of the matter is it was a set hand. Dennis Chung applied for the job when he said he saw nothing wrong with in the Integrity Commission report. There were clear red flags for money laundering, cash from undisclosed depositors deposited to the Prime Minister's personal account, 470 billion flowing through multiple accounts. That's called layering. These were clear red flags.
Thank you very much. Time. Al, your question for Team PNP.
A look at MSMEs. Many people looking to fund the business in Jamaica bemoan the strangulating red tape and lack of access to finance from lending institutions. In the new century, we're seeing the rise of new types of businesses, young people into digital technology, the creative and services sector. Harold Davis of Jamaica Business Development Corporation makes the point that access to finance has two sides of the coin, and that it's appropriateness of the financial product that is available. And when I say appropriateness, I speak of the product that is right for the particular industry or the particular stage of business of the entrepreneur. What will you do to address this and better help small businesses in Jamaica?
We wholeheartedly agree. As a matter of fact, as a former CEO of a financial institution in Jamaica, I can say it's a problem that we struggled with in the absence of government having adequate policy and facilities to make it happen. We will, as the next PNP administration, ensure that we revisit the loan processes for our MSMEs. We recognize that they're an important part of the engine of growth for the economy, and we recognize their struggles. We note that we would have to help them with some amount of business planning. We'd have to help them to get themselves ready to borrow. But it's a win-win situation. When they borrow, they're able to grow. When they grow, they're able to contribute to the economy, and we will be able to get tax revenues from them. So it's very important for us to have our MSMEs grow, and to also encourage young entrepreneurs in the economy to participate.
What we are going to do is remove income tax for MSMEs for the first 3 years. Why are we doing this? The reason MSMEs remain informal is because they don't want to pay tax. But remaining informal limits their growth because they can only get money from friends and families and a partner draw. So by removing the income tax for the first 3 years, they can formalize, they can grow, they can access bank equity funding.
But
that is what we're doing to grow the MSME sector.
Time. Thank you. Thank you, Team JLP. Your rebuttal.
PNP talks a good talk, but in reality, that's not the fact. 2015, 8,000 companies were registered with the Company Office. 2024, 23,000 companies, twice that number. The fact is Jamaicans are more energized to form companies, to come out of the informal sector. DBJ over that 8-year period loaned almost $70 billion US, 117 billion of investments, 86,000 applicants. That is why our economy has started to turn around. And I want to say to Peter that he must be careful about innuendos, hearsays, and propaganda. First of all, your FinSAC era, I don't know how you're comfortable with it. The Contractor General at the time accused you of sweetheart dealings, you and your partners.
Time,
you cannot
thank you. Time,
now
time,
say
thank
that you
time,
earn your money
time,
in a way
off
that
the
is
top
legitimate
time,
and above board.
Time.
Miss
Time.
Lashley.
Amoy has a question from social media.
This question is from TikTok. The user who sent in this question is Kamar Jackson. Under the current administration, brain drain has become an increasingly pressing issue, negatively impacting our economy. Considering the various causes of this trend, such as limited employment opportunities, inadequate compensation, and governance concerns, what specific strategies and reforms would your government implement to address the key drivers of this problem and ensure the retention of skilled professionals?
Team JLP.
Thank you very much for that question, Cameron Jackson. That area of brain drain has been an issue for a long time. I saw it. I left university in 2001, and most of my classmates left this country because they didn't feel there was an opportunity. And it's for that reason why we focused a lot of our policies. And if you look in our manifesto, there's a huge section for young people, because we believe in a few things. We believe that every young person, as they've told us, wants to own a home one day. And that's why we have allocated 15% of every NHT house built to our young people who are under 35. We're also increasing employment. 280,000 more young people have been brought into the labor force. We're providing jobs, and we're looking for higher paying ones through the work that we're doing in terms of training our people. 500,000 young people have been trained since 2020 at Heart, and we're going to continue doing that.
In addition to that, let me remind Jamaica that it is this government that has brought unemployment to its lowest level ever. In fact, the participation rate in the job market is 68%, the highest it has ever been. Under their watch, people lost jobs. They borrowed and spent, or taxed and spent. Under this government, no new taxes, and jobs have been created. This is a more responsible government, and the future of young people are brighter with the JLP.
Thank you. Team PNP, your 90 seconds to answer the question.
Raising the tax threshold to 3.5 million, the tax-free threshold to 3.5 million, is one of the most fundamental and revolutionary things we can do to retain our best and brightest. As I said, this is a manifesto that we've put forward, not just about a campaign for the next election. This is about the next generation. We want to ensure that our teachers, our nurses, our police officers can provide for their families in the way they should. We want to rebuild the working class and the middle class. We want to ensure that buying a house, buying a car, aspiring to improve, to lift your whole generation is not merely a dream. So yes, what we have proposed is radical. It's transformational. It's going to require a shaking up and a reordering of all the priorities of government. That's not accidental. We're working for a social revolution. People are not going to elect a new government to do the same thing that the outgoing one is elected to do.
When I hear them speak, I wonder which young people they're speaking about. When I speak to young people, they tell me they have no hope of owning a home. With the NHT limit being raised to 9 million, the problem is that the houses cost 40 million. There's no hope.
Time, Mr. Sanders, time. We now take a short break and invite you to stay tuned.
The general elections debates are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission.
Well, Keisha seemed to have picked up herself. But I don't know if a mini skirt or hobble skirt or batty rider Dr. Tufton coming up. But Dr. Tufton come for trace tonight. Dr. Tufton come for lift up him skirt tonight. And when Peter Bunting tell him about say him and the oldest can't talk when getting well, they rub him, you know. That bit really rubbed Dr. Tufton the wrong way. But Peter Bunting is performing well. Peter Bunting and Julian is performing well. Keisha, stop calling her Stacey. Her name is Keisha. Keisha has picked up herself. No, she flattered on her first question in the first round. But she has certainly picked up herself. But Dr. Tufton come with tongue tonight.
That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you.
Peter Bunting and Julian know how to get under them skin. Favor, Lord. Oh, she's still here.
You're at the heart of everything we do.
What was Favor talking about? What did Dennis Strong question was asked? What was Favor talking about? Has she gotten to her point yet? Has anyone seen Favor? We heard that faith tonight in the name of Jesus. We heard that Favour was coming to the debate. Has anyone seen Favour? Globalist. Nobody there see Favour yet. I wonder if she broke down a road in the program. No?
Doing good, building a sustainable future.
Anybody see Favour?
That same unbeatable
the program cafe broke down a road with her. I know. One night we are waiting for Favour turn up for the debate. And nowhere to be found. No, this look bad, the Prime Minister. Your finance minister will lead your team. Don't turn up. Should come with as much.
You're not gonna see me in the same
The thing them under Favour and they can up like to come in and Johnson as well too. No, sir.
Everything.
Poor thing. Poor Esmeralda Thornton. Poor Esmeralda. Poor thing. She can't go on home, you know. She can't go on home. Dear old thing.
And I'm the assistant coach.
Maybe we don't even need.
Your job is to bring the water and keep us hydrated.
Maybe we don't even need a wheelbarrow. We can throw in a scandal bag. Jesus! We can throw in a scandal bag tonight by the time them Julian and Peter done with her tonight. She will hold in a scandal bag. So we probably are not even need the wheelbarrow to wheel her off tonight. You can just put her in a scandal bag, tie it, and squish it over the gully. Literally like that. Listen here. They're using Finstack because they can't tackle the Andrew argument. Let me shut up.
The general elections debates are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission in association with Scotiabank for every future, Kendall, the taste of quality, Flow, NCB, Arc Manufacturing, Water, JN Group, Lasco Foundation, Pan Jamaica Group, Miss Birdie, H&L Homes, and VM Group. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Welcome back to the Economy Debate presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. We invite you, the public, to send us your questions via direct message on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Send them to Jamaica Debates. We'll now ask Andrea to start this segment with a question for Team PNP.
The PNP has described the 0% in year one as an insult to public sector workers. The party says they have looked at the budget and fiscal policy paper and will do better for the public sector workers if elected. What percentage increase would a PNP administration propose?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say, we are going to treat public sector workers with respect and dignity. I won't talk to the JTA president like the Minister of Education and say him performing at his conference. That is disrespect. Disrespect is when you need to get a meeting, you have to get restive and threaten strike action. The fiscal policy paper has, in its first year, 9%. In the second year, 6%. In the third year, 6%. They have offered 0. That is not an offer. We will do better. But by lifting the income tax threshold to 3.5 million, we are easing the pressure. We ease in the pressure on our nurses. We ease in the pressure on our policemen. We ease in the pressure so that more money will be in their pockets. They have a history of dealing with civil servants with disrespect. You right now have 2 sets of civil servants in the same office doing the same thing and earning different salaries. A whole set of anomalies that arose from the public sector compensation review. They haven't addressed it. There's supposed to be a meeting tomorrow with the JCTU and you cancel it. They are the ones who treat them with disrespect. We have a history of working with our public sector in the interest of this country, and we will continue to do so. So when we come into office, it will be better than 0% because there is money in the budget to provide better for public servants.
Team JLP, your rebuttal?
This is a government that has given the public sector the largest wage increase in the history of Jamaica. What did the public sector know under the PNP? Wage freeze after wage freeze after wage freeze. We are committed to continue negotiating with our unions. Negotiation is a process. We still remain at the table. Our Prime Minister has indicated that we will get to a point that is satisfactory for the public sector workers and for Jamaica as a whole. We remain committed to the public sector workers.
Time, Mrs. Williams, time. Thank you.
One home, you hear how me warn you? Say
Al, your
home.
question to Team JLP.
In fiscal year 2013-14, the then Minister of Finance, Peter Phillips, balanced the budget. Minister Phillips met the targets for the primary surplus and the budget deficit. The JLP said at the time, including you, Minister Williams, that the then PNP government was preoccupied with passing the IMF test and not the people's test. Can it be said of this JLP administration that it is preoccupied with reducing the debt instead of growing the economy and passing the people's test?
We are passing the people's tests. If you look at what we have done, what we have achieved, all that we have achieved, we have done it for the people of Jamaica. Look at roads, look at new jobs created, look at the level of inflation, look at the number of houses that are being built. We are going gangbusters. Every day we wake up, it is to grow the economy. During our administration, we have grown the economy. We have had 33 quarters of growth, interrupted only by COVID and by Hurricane Beryl. We wake up every day to ensure that this economy expands so that there are opportunities for our men and women in the society.
When we speak of the people's test, all these nice economic jargon about GDP and debt to GDP ratio and all of that don't mean anything to the ordinary person, to most of our Jamaicans. What they think about is how is everything that we're doing affecting the quality of their life. We're giving more water. 350,000 more people have water, 280,000 more jobs created. We are improving the quality of life of our people.
Team PNP, your rebuttal.
What I want to ask every Jamaican, is your life better? Can you afford the same things you used to be able to afford? Do you have to choose between paying your utilities, buying food, or buying medication? Is your life better?
The lived reality, notwithstanding the macroeconomic numbers of most Jamaicans, is a struggle to put food on the table. When you go to the supermarket or the corner shop, you pick up things and you have to put it back down. If you suffer the misfortune of going to a hospital, you have to sit down on one chair for 2 or 3 days. And what we have seen at Cornwall Regional, it moved from 1.5 billion to 25 billion. That is the waste that we will eliminate so we can put money back in the hands of the Jamaican
Thank you very much. Al would like to use this second and final follow-up question. Al.
According to the World Bank, the Jamaican economy average annual growth of the last decade is around 0.8%. Why is this? And what will you do to get it to around 5%?
Thanks for that question. Thanks for that question on growth. There have been many impediments to growth, and we have seen that documented in many places. If we look at the impediments, they include training, and we're doing that, 500,000 trained. Another impediment to growth is the high electricity cost, and we have taken the decision to not continue on that bad JPS contract because we know we need to have lower electricity costs. In addition to that, infrastructure is another impediment to growth. And that's why we've spent so much money on fixing our roads, providing internet access across this country, and improving our investments in technology. We understand that in order to bring the growth rate up, we are going to have to do these things.
You have 45 seconds.
What they haven't spoken about is
how
corruption has impacted that. Our foreign direct investment has moved from 900 million in 2015 to 300 million today. That 11 of them are under investigation for illicit enrichment. I, Julian J. Robinson, can categorically state, I am not under investigation. Can the three of you say that? We need growth. We understand the assignment now. We have consolidated our economy. We have to improve the outcomes in education, which have been poor. You talk about energy. It took you 8 years to put out a request for proposal for renewables. Why? Because of the corruption at the Ministry of Education, where you see 4 ministers over 8 years.
Time. Thank you. Social media, Amoy.
Robbed by
All right, so we're on TikTok, and I'm seeing a question here from Joe. Policies often target low-income earners, while high-income earners are generally believed to be able to manage on their own. What in your plans directly supports middle-income Jamaicans who are caught in the squeeze?
Team PNP.
So the contrast between the JLP's approach of reducing the income tax rate for everyone versus the PNP's approach of lifting the threshold is a prime example of that. The cabinet ministers and the prime ministers will benefit the most from the reduction in the rate of income tax. Police officers, nurses, doctors, security guards, public servants, those who are at the rank and file of the police level, everyone who earns under 3.5 million will be the major beneficiaries of our program. That is what differentiates our approach from theirs. They talk about prosperity. It's prosperity for them and their cronies. When we talk about putting people at the center of our policies and programs, it's because we want to lift everyone. We want to lift those at the bottom. We want to build out the middle class. We want education to become a bridge from one generation to another to move them to another level in society.
And we will continue to lift the standards of the majority of the Jamaican people. The income tax threshold, we're going to remove tax on overtime so that our security guards, our nurses will get a break and you put more money in their pockets.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Team JLP.
The PNP does not understand how the economy works. First of all, they talk about our performance. Our performance we're very proud of. We created the lowest poverty rate in the country on record. We created more jobs with more participation in the economy on record. And while we're doing that, we are building out new industries in digital technology, in our port facilities, for logistics hub, as well as maintaining and building on the traditional industries that are there. Most persons in Jamaica today, young persons who have a skill, can find a job. That was not the case under the People's National Party. And I want to just come back to this issue of corruption, because they seem to think that they can speak about things in mid-air without any evidence, innuendos and suppositions, as if people are going to accept that. What the Jamaican people want is who is going to look after them, who will bring down crime. Peter Bunting depended on divine intervention without work. In fact, he is on record, I believe, as the only Minister of National Security who was unable to secure himself. And I am happy he's okay from that unfortunate incident in Portland. But it speaks to confidence in their policy to reduce crime. This government has reduced crime by the lowest over 30 years. And this is what Jamaicans want. They felt unsafe under the PNP. They feel a lot safer under the Jamaica Labour Party.
Mr. Tufton, thank you. Time. We now take a short break and invite you to stay tuned.
The general elections debates are presented by the Jamaica Debate Commission. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Tomorrow's success will depend on the decisions we make today.
When it comes to the corruption argument,
supporting the well-being of our nation is more than a choice. It's a heartfelt promise to the communities we serve. By empowering individuals and organizations
by the corruption
who are revitalizing communities
you know, to see,
and creating a more sustainable world
Julian would stick tonight, you know. Julian, come with stick tonight, and Stacey, and stop calling her that. Keisha has really picked up her style. Dana is just the lippy old Dana will just go off on a tangent. Dr. Tufton, as you know, is coming in a spurt. Favors still don't read. On if still are not tired to have diarrhea.
Another quality product from the Carimed Group.
Anybody see Favor?
At Flow, we understand
You don't give me one of the small black bag there. Somebody
That's
said,
why we're
"Carry that one,
dedicated to building a network as resilient as you. With a team of familiar faces working every day to keep
Who else
you
they
on
could have
beat.
sent to replace her?
You're at the heart of everything we do. And
I mean,
our commitment is to
right
keep
now,
your
we
reading
could have put a
flowing.
ragdoll.
No
We could have put a
matter what.
ragdoll or a scarecrow, and we get better out of the ragdoll or the scarecrow than we're really getting out of the finance minister today.
The resilience of our people is
I mean,
cemented in
she's
our
at
products,
sea,
built
Jamaica.
to last for
Jamaica.
generations.
The Minister
Laying
of
the
Finance
foundation
is
for
at
thriving
sea.
communities. We're
Whether she
committed
will
to
get to
excellence
shore
and quality.
tonight
Quality
is
products,
a matter
quality
for
relationships.
her
We're all
and
proud
her
Jamaicans,
plan of
working
how
hard, doing good,
she's going to navigate
building
her
a
way.
sustainable future for
The
all.
Minister of Finance
That same
is
unbeatable
far
spirit
at sea.
runs through us. We are ARC
What a poor
Manufacturing,
thing.
made of Jamaica.
Mr. Julian, come with the 2x4 tonight. Yeah, Julian, I'm going with
The
himself.
Jamaica
Peter
Debates
Bunting is going
Commission
on
presents
well.
the general elections debate
As
in
well.
association
Peter
with
Bunting is
Scotiabank
quite
for every future.
fiery,
Kendall,
and
the
Peter
taste of
Bunting
quality.
tend to rub.
NCB,
Puff.
ARC Manufacturing, Water,
Bunting tend to be
Lasco
rubbing
Foundation,
Tufton
and
with the
Jamaica
corruption
Group, Miss Birdie, H&L
argument.
and VM Group. See the leaders debate between the two
Lord,
major political parties
the
live
20,
August 28th at 9 p.m. It's
tomorrow,
a political
no,
must-see.
today the
Don't miss
27th in
the
my
general elections
international
debate
plan,
presented by the
which
Jamaica
is
Debates
tomorrow,
Commission. Watch, listen, decide.
Wednesday.
Vote.
Tomorrow, Wednesday.
If
So,
you want $10,000
Thursday.
to spend this summer, what would you spend it on? Something
You
nice,
know the day
something
there.
unforgettable.
So theme park are all inclusive.
Ask the expert.
But in the meantime, tomorrow,
Bywin,
are
you're not gonna
the
see me in the
leaders
same outfit
debate.
twice.
But Dave Valdarcy, if anybody have no tugboat, do none of there with no tugboat, please. We can tug Favor ashore. We can't let the minister see, you know, Jamaica. Has anyone got a tugboat in the audience, please?
I'm the coach.
We need a tugboat to tug Favor ashore.
Your job is to bring the water and keep us hydrated.
We need help. Help, oh.
Where's the water?
Help. Anybody have a tugboat? How we need to tug Favor ashore. Favor way out at sea. Way out at sea, poor thing.
The
Drifting
general
Favor,
elections debates
drifting.
are presented by
Oh,
the Jamaica
hallelujah
Debates
tonight.
Commission in association with Scotiabank for every future. Kendall, the taste of quality. Flow, NCB, ARC Manufacturing, Water, JN Group, Lasco Foundation, and Jamaica Group, Miss Birdie, H&L Homes, and VM Group. Watch, listen, decide, vote. The general
Welcome back to
election.
the economy debate presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. We invite you, the public, to send us your questions via direct message on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Send them to Jamaica Debates. We now ask Andrea to start the final segment with a question for Team JLP.
The central bank has cut its policy interest rate from 7% in July 2024 to 5.75% in August 2025. The regulator has been pleading with the banks, the commercial banks, to further reduce lending rates, but it's not happening fast enough. What will your administration do to further pressure banks to cut their lending rates?
Okay. So we are seeing interest rates come down, and we're getting early signs that the rates to borrowers is also coming down. Just recently, I was speaking to the DBJ. You know that the DBJ on-lends to the banks to lend to our MSMEs, and DBJ reported that they are seeing lower rates in the marketplace from banks. As the Bank of Jamaica bring rates down, which it will, we fully expect that our borrowers are going to begin to see lower rates in the marketplace on the various loans.
I think that the reforms that are taking place within the banking sector, the independent central bank, which has to drive this issue, that's why we supported the independence of the central bank, and competition. What we have been working on, but I do agree we need to work on it more, and this is for the next administration, is to make it easier for someone to move their account from one bank to the next. We believe ultimately in the market, within reason, of course, with a regulatory framework, not like them who allowed an attempt at liberalization that drove us into FinSA.
Thank you, Team PNP, your rebuttal.
Before the break, Chris had the gall of claiming success with crime. The fact is that more Jamaicans have been murdered under this JLP administration, almost 13,000 murdered in their 2 terms than in any other 2 terms in the history of Jamaica. That is failure, not success. We commend the police for the job they've been doing this year in reducing it, but you can't take credit for that. That's despite your failed SOE policies.
What we will do to ensure that the banking sector is more competitive, we are going to ensure government deposits. There's a system to ensure that all banks participate in government deposits.
Thank you. Al, I invite you to pose a question to Team PNP.
The former CEO of Grace Kennedy, the late Don Webby, consistently called on Jamaica to reduce its food importation bill by half by 2030. Given that Jamaica spends around $1 billion a year on imported food, and according to the FAO, Jamaica's food imports account for approximately 21% of its total merchandise imports, what will your government be doing to reduce the food importation in a meaningful way?
Under the JLP administration, the imported food cost has doubled. It was $800 million US 10 years ago. It is now $1.6 billion. That 800 million US dollars, or about 150 billion Jamaican dollars, should be going into the pockets of the farmers of South Manchester, South St. Elizabeth, and farmers all over Jamaica. We have committed to forming an agricultural development fund. This is going to ensure that we inject new technology, new machinery into our farming communities. It's going to ensure that we put adequate post-harvest storage and processing facilities in place to reduce the 30% or more that's lost. We are going to ensure that funding is available for our farmers.
And we commit to the Jamaican people and to the farmers of Jamaica to reduce importation by 25% in our first term. We also commit to helping farmers access financing at more affordable rates and terms. We also commit to helping them with products such as insurance to ensure that when natural disasters hit, the impact to them for recovery is not as high.
Team JLP, your
First of all, there is a need to do more to develop our local industry for self-sufficiency, but also for export. The fact is this government has done a lot. In fact, if you look at the last 8 years on domestic export has gone up by some 31%. What it means is that more local companies within a much friendlier environment are in fact producing and exporting. But it is a fact that we are importing more at the same time. That is simple. We have an economy that affords the capacity to demand more. We have a thriving tourism industry and we have a consumer who is earning more. This will contribute to a greater demand. It's a process, but it's also a sign of success by this government.
Thank you. Andrea, I invite you to pose a question to Team JLP.
Major platforms such as Meta, Google, and TikTok are earning money and data from the Jamaican economy, but they are not paying taxes in Jamaica. What policy changes will your administration pursue to ensure that Jamaica directly collects taxes from these platforms?
So we recognize that those companies that you mentioned are not paying tax to the Jamaican government. We have our tax entities in conversation with these entities to ensure that the Jamaican people get their fair share of taxes from these companies. We sit on some of the international bodies that look at taxes across different countries to ensure that there's fairness in what's being done. And I know that we will pursue it vigorously to ensure that Jamaica is not left out as these companies thrive on our data.
What's important to also note is that a lot of our young people are using these platforms. I know recently I saw someone on TikTok selling some nice products that I thought about buying. So our young people are using these platforms very well, and they're creating content that is absolutely amazing. And so we have the tax side that the minister has said that we're looking at in a more multilateral kind of approach, as we tend to do as Jamaicans. But also, there are also other concerns too in relation to artificial intelligence. They're using a lot of our creative energy. They're using our music. They're using our cultural ideas. And those are going into AI programs. And that's something we have to look at.
Rebuttal, Team PNP.
It's clear that there's no policy to deal with this. This is where we have to work with our CARICOM states to develop a common policy. Why? Because these are large multinationals. Their GDP would dwarf the entire Caribbean region. And so it requires some consensus among the region to ensure that you implement a policy which every country agrees to and that you can stand the test of time. We recognize the importance of our creatives. That's why we are establishing a $1 billion fund, not like the film fund that has disbursed zero, but a $1 billion fund for creatives, for artists or singers or potters, the people who create content so they can build their businesses.
Time, thank you. Social media, Moy.
On social media platform X, Sean from Kingston says, free healthcare means little if hospitals don't have CT machines, x-rays, or even basic supplies. What short-term financial measures will you take within the first 2 years, if you win, to fix these shortages and ensure patients can actually access proper care?
Team PNP, you go first.
You know, I really wanted the Minister of Health to focus on these issues, but him seem more preoccupied with dealing with FinSAC and other people's business. Because if he spent more time dealing with Cornwall Regional, we wouldn't have a $25 billion overrun. If he spent more time dealing with the hospital sector, when people go there, they wouldn't have to sit on a wooden chair for 3 days. And when they have to do an MRI or CT scan, they have to pay $50,000 for go. And the same ambulance for take them have to pay for it too. And them can't get toilet paper in the hospital. Our health sector is failing despite the amount of money we have spent. It is the inefficiency of the Jamaica Labour Party why we are here. We are going to ensure the dignity of Jamaicans who have to traverse our public health system. They have been failed by this administration. And that is why we are committed to ensuring that monies which come into the coffers go for the benefit. So when we look on the drill and we drill down, it shouldn't cost $31 million for a $3 million drill. Because what does that do? When you go to the hospital, you have to pay now based on that wastage, that corruption, and that inefficiency. What can go so, Jamaica? How can you feel comfortable?
There are currently no CT scan or MRI services available at Mandeville Regional Hospital because the private providers have not been paid.
Time, Team JLP.
Well, let me just start by saying I wasn't the one in 2015 who said we had to use garbage bags as aprons or cut a soap in two. That is their spokesperson of health who spoke about the crisis in the system. So we have come a long way, and we started from a very low base. It is incorrect to say we don't have CT scan, just to say to your social media person. We have CT scans, we have MRIs. In fact, we have more digital machines in our health system than any time before. We need more, but we have done better than the PNP up to 2015 when they were there. Oh, I have more time. Let me also say, because I have a lot to say, that we have embarked on the largest expansion of hospital build-out than any other government since independence, the largest upgrading of health centers than any other government since independence. We have hired we have put in our establishment over 3,000 doctors and nurses, double the numbers of community health aides, and last year we served up 3 million prescriptions to Jamaicans on the National Health Fund. In their 2015 year, they did less than 1 million. The facts are that more Jamaicans are being served by our health system. Do we need to do more? I am the first to say yes, which is why we need the next term to complete the work that we are doing. They talk about the issue, they did nothing. As far as corruption is concerned, that's innuendos and talk. No proof of that. And I condemn them for that kind of position.
Time.
The blood pressure will raise over corruption.
All right. We're at that segment at that point in the debate where we allow the teams to ask a question of the other. Yeah. So we're going to start with Team JLP posing a question to Team PNP.
I bet it's going to be about Finsta.
Thank you. It is our considered view that the 3.5 million threshold increase that was recently announced is nothing but a Samfi political scam. In the beginning, it was 2.1, then it became 3, then it disappeared, and then it appeared 1 week before an election. You have to tell the people of Jamaica, I ask you to tell the people of Jamaica, is this just an election scam? Or is it that you are going to be cutting much needed services such as NHF, where we spend $19 billion for drugs in hospitals, or university spending, which is $17 billion? Tell us how you plan to really cut discretionary areas, as you have called them.
I answered the question already, but I'm going to answer it again for the Jamaican people. I have said we are going to raise the threshold to $3.5 million. How are we going to do that? We're going to do that because your budget says that $140 billion of additional government revenues will be earned over 3 years. But that is at your 1% growth, which you have no ambition on. We're going to grow the economy by more than that so that we can pay for these things. There's also a benefit when you put more money in the hands of people because they're going to spend it, which will allow the government to collect more on GCT and other indirect taxes. We are the party committed to ensuring that all Jamaicans thrive and not just a few. Our plan is better. It is more equitable. Their plan will benefit the richer people more. Ours will benefit the working people, our nurses, our policemen, the security guards, the civil servants, to put more money to ease the pressure of the cost of living that they have to face. That is our commitment as a party of social justice and equality. So when you talk about Samfire, what Samfire you're talking about? Madness you're talking about? We will deliver on behalf of the Jamaican people. We have a history of protecting our most vulnerable and ensuring that they have more money to spend so that they can protect their families and those around them.
Time. JLP, you have a 45-second rebuttal.
Jamaicans, the 3.5 million threshold is the largest political scam. They cannot tell you how they're going to fund it. They look at the current budget. They see the projections growing to 140 billion, but they don't tell you that expenses are also growing. So that's not available for you to use towards the 3. Showing how much people are going to get on a monthly basis, you know that's a lie. They may get it for 1 month, but it's not going to be there. The 3.5 that you're talking about cannot be done.
Williams, thank you. Time. Team PNP, your turn to pose a question to Team JLP.
How can you be trusted to keep promises when you've broken promises on impeachment legislation, unexplained wealth orders, term limits, grand referenda? You've attacked the Integrity Commission relentlessly. You've undermined them. You have even failed to sign the Code of Conduct. Basic principles dealing with integrity, honesty, selflessness, and accountability. How can anybody take your word? How do they know that those candidates who are under investigation for illicit enrichment are not offering themselves out there right now to the public, secretly knowing that they are corrupt?
Them ask Dana to take the question.
Clock isn't working, by the way.
Oh, the clock is okay. I'm just going to still go ahead and answer that question. It's a very curious question because I know in the 90s when I became politically aware, I remember politics and scandals. I remember hearing light bulb scandal, fat cat scandal, and then the mother of all scandals, FinSAC. When you look in your dictionary and you look for scandal, you see the PNP right there. In terms of the Integrity Commission, it is this administration that implemented it. It is this administration that puts $2 billion annually to it. It is this administration in our manifesto that says we're going to strengthen our corruption prevention mechanisms in this country. It is this administration that has delivered Jamaica's best anti-corruption score. And it's not us that said it. It is an international body, Transparency International. We have been the ones that have been taking Jamaica on the path of anti-corruption, not the PNP.
In addition to that, let me just say very clearly that the Jamaican people are concerned about their lives, their livelihood, their communities, and by extension, Jamaica. They talk, we deliver. We have delivered the lowest unemployment, the lowest poverty, reduced crime despite Peter's objection by over 40%, the lowest in 30 years. That is what is important to the people of Jamaica.
Mr. Tupton. Time, thank you. Team PNP, you have a 45-second rebuttal.
It's interesting that they say that people are concerned about their standard of living because they're talking about things that happened in the 90s. That's over 30 years ago. Young people who are listening, does that affect your life now? Yet still, they're not speaking about the scandals that young people, anybody 25 years and younger, would have experienced what happened with rural reading education, to the point that education is behind. We are celebrating as a country five subjects being attained by 19% of our children. That's 1 in every 5. Is your child one of the 5 that is attaining 5 subjects? And if your child is not, what is happening to them? Our standards are too low. What happened to the used car scandal? What happened to Petrojam scandal? And I'm sure there are many others. Come on, man. 30 years ago, we're talking about.
Thank you, Mrs. Anderson. Thank you. Time. Okay. What we're going to do now is this. We're going to invite Team PNP to deliver a closing statement of 2 minutes in length.
Jamaica, the current macroeconomic figures look good, but what is your lived reality? What do you go through every single day? The reality you face is that you are living hand to mouth. You are working, but you can only afford to go to work and come back based on the wages that you earn. You are working poor. 55% of Jamaicans are considered food insecure, which means they cannot afford to eat a proper meal per day. If they go to the hospitals that Chris supposed to build, them can't find toilet paper or a bed. Jamaica, you deserve better. Time come for a better life. The next People's National Party administration will lift the tax threshold to 3.5 million, so we can put more money in the pockets of working Jamaicans. We're going to eliminate the tax on overtime so that, again, people can get a break. The same people who are working hard to build our economy. We're going to run a more efficient economy so that this thing called the Office of Plenty Ministries, that is a bottleneck where nothing can go through and it takes you a year to do something. We're going to eliminate those efficiencies so that we can grow the economy beyond 1%. We are going to ensure that anybody who is the first in their family gets a scholarship, and that means for persons who are currently at university, we are going to ensure that those who are buying a house get the $500,000 deposit. And I want to assure persons who earn over 3.5 million that this tax benefit is for you too. So what are we going to do? We're going to build a Jamaica in which all Jamaicans can feel a part of. So come September 3rd, when you go to the polling station, I want you to think carefully. I want you to use your head and put the X beside the head.
Time. Thank you. Thank you. May I add that the order of the closing statement was predetermined by a coin toss. Team JLP, your 2 minutes.
My fellow Jamaicans,
Hey.
in 2016, you asked the Jamaica Labour Party, you gave them your vote of confidence to correct the ills within our economy caused by the People's National Party. They served 24 of 27 years and created more debt, more unemployment, more poverty than any other administration. Fast forward to today, 2025, we have the lowest poverty rate, we have the lowest unemployment rate, we have a macroeconomic stable society, we have more companies registering to start their business, we have crime that has been the monster of your business, your personal life, down the lowest in 30 years, all by the policies of this government. We still have some ways to go. Our hospital and health centers have embarked on the largest expansion and build out. They left it as a disaster. We have had to correct it. We ask you on September 3rd, give the Jamaica Labour Party the opportunity to continue the work. We have done more for you than any other administration, and certainly more than the PNP has ever done. They are now coming with a 1-week plan, essentially, to get your vote by claiming 3.5 when they rejected our 1.5 when we started. They don't know how to get us there. We will get you there. We are about protecting yourselves, your families, your communities by doing what is necessary. That is all that matters. Their diversion around innuendos, rumors, targeting persons, and character assassination does not impact you in your community. It is about the water, the road, the health services, and this government has done more. On the 3rd of September, put your X beside the bell. Vote for the Jamaica Labour Party.
Thank you. Thank you. In the good spirit of the debates, we invite Team JLP and Team PNP to meet in the middle and shake hands. You can applaud. All right. That concludes that concludes the economy debate between Dana Morris Dixon, Favour Williams, and Christopher Tufton for Team Jamaica Labour Party, and Julian Robinson, Keisha Anderson, and Peter Bunting for Team PNP. Join us again Thursday, August 28, 9 p.m. sharp for the final debate in the 2025 General Election Debate Series, the Leaders Debate, featuring party leaders Dr. Andrew Holness from the JLP and Mark Golding from the PNP. Thanks for joining us.
I am calling it for the People's National Party. Julian was on fire. Outstanding and excellent are the better word. Julian was Kamina. The one who never come at the first debate. We run go to go to love. PNP will take the second round again. Favour Williams, who as the Minister of Finance, who led the charge in the debate, we waited patiently all night for the Minister of Finance to turn up. Sadly, she was nowhere to be found. Dana came with a lot of lips and a lot of lies. Dr. Tufton came with old draws, stretch out draws, spotted draws, and an angry overtone. You know, Favour wasn't there. Keisha bucked her toe at the first, during the first round. But when she stumbled, she really never fall. She picked up herself and she got on with it. Peter Bunting gave it to them. Peter Bunting and Julian Robinson tonight was outstanding. Favor still. We are waiting to see if the minister will turn up, push our head through the door, and look wagwan. Anybody have one scandal bag so we can tuck Favor in and tight and just swish it over the gully? Favor was a car crash coming out of the mechanic shop. It was an immediate car crash for the Minister of Finance coming out of the garage. Never turn up and buck up in an accident. That tells you where our country is really heading to. When you look on the finance minister, who struggled to form her sentences, the finance minister literally is even struggling to get her point across. For me, I am calling it for the People's National Party. Round 2, I'm calling round 2 for the People's National Party. Julian answered all the questions. Peter Bunting answered all the questions. The PNP, the Jamaica Labour Party, just go off and finsack and go off and the pass is what they literally do. And Andrew Holness will go into the past on steroid when he comes on Thursday night. If you think Dr. Tufton was on steroid tonight, then wait until the Prime Minister, Andrew Michael Holness, turn up with for him bag full of blunders. But no doubt we will continue the discussion around tonight calamity for the Jamaica Labour Party in the image of a pro-box Minister of Finance. Calamitous. It was calamitous for Favor Williams. Poor thing. Anybody say anything in the mainstream media? What mainstream media call it for? Anybody say anything in the mainstream media? Because to say, me want to find out from Emily Shields tonight if Favor reach. Because just like what Emily Shields said one night, Colonel Charles never reach. Kamina Johnson never reach. And we identified tonight, say Favor do a runner and the people them at the appointed hour. Favor done a runner. But Dr. Tufton was enraged about corruption. I mean, Julian asked them about him and Andrew can't talk where they get their wealth from, or that none of them can talk whether they're under investigation or not. Dr. Tufton, don't go near that question then, none at all. When it comes to answering a question not straightforward with the truth, straightforward with the lie, Dana on the JLP side, Dana presentation-wise was better than the two, even though she came with a pack of lies and propaganda, the JLP playbook. She, presentation-wise, on the JLP side, she performed better than Chris Tufton. Now for Favor Williams, one cannot judge what did not happen or what you did not see. Isn't it so? You cannot judge what has not happened or what you did not see. So it's hard to judge anything of the finance minister tonight. Dr. Tufton came, as I said, with many draws and rage and anger. And Dr. Tufton thinks, you see, me being out of the social issues debate and stocking myself into the economic debate, I will avoid the questions of the corruption and the health care. But Dr. Tufton, they did came, didn't they? And they really wind you the hell up tonight, Dr. Tufton. They really wind you up. But we can't judge favor. Sorry about that. Team PNP was brilliant, except for Keisha, little bit of hookup in the first part. Overall, Team PNP was brilliant. Julian Robinson came with blood and fire tonight. The 3.5 Jamaica, it robbed them. I mean, when you hear fans say the 3.5 robbed them, it really have them back up the wall, Jamaica. The trip, because if Andrew came with 1.5 in 2016 and Andrew cared about sharing the wealth with the people of Jamaica, giving Jamaica people the prosperity that he promised, Andrew should have able to, with how high them raise for their money, be able to deliver 3.5 before this general election. If Andrew was sharing the economic advantages of our country with us, then he should have, or the good standing where the economy is in, he is in a position where he could have and should have implemented the 3.5 before this election. So public sector worker and all that wouldn't have little more money coming into them pocket, and just maybe this wage negotiation battle that they're having and could never overcome through their cycle. Them are going to left it for the People's National Party, picked it up. So the 3.5 really robbed them, because the truth is Andrew Holness could have delivered the 3.5 to Jamaicans. It took Andrew many years to even deliver the 1.5. And he just a tinker and a dance with it. 1.5, 1.7, then 1.8. Him just a jip yourself. Whereas their salary was parachuted overnight by 300%. Their salary was parachuted by 300%. When Andrew Holness could have given Jamaica people 3.5. Now see how 3.5 are raise them blood pressure? 3.5 cost them for can't sleep at night time. The Jamaica Labour Party has no vision for the country. The Jamaica Labour Party has no vision for the country. They're taking the country backwards down the hill. That's where the Jamaica Labour Party is taking us. Thursday night will be the final of the debates, when Mark Golden, Lord, our Emily yesterday now, Emily the pan, hold on there, hold on. Hold on there, Jamaica. It look like Emily I go call it for the PNP too, you know. Hold on there. It look like Emily I go call it for the PNP. Hold on there. I could look at social media patrol. Hang on. I could look at social media patrol here, globalist. To see if we hear nobody, I go call the. Let me see what Emily has said. Hold on.
Early decades. They are now at US $20,000. We are just at $7,000, and that is because of the recent wage adjustment. Yes.
But,
so
but
the
let's
point
talk
is
about
that
the debaters, though.
Yeah,
Let's
but
talk about the debate.
we are getting back to the debate now. Matthew is coming in. Matthew is coming in on that.
Yes, let's talk about the debate.
Yes, go ahead.
Can I just introduce a nuance that I think the GLP was trying to leverage in pointing out to you that they do understand that there's a massive difference between the macroeconomic state of the country and how the regular man has felt it. And Dr. Dana really tried her very hardest this evening to point out what is fiscally responsible and prudent to do with the level of growth that we are at currently. Which I think the messaging from them was supposed to be, or she tried to make it look like, was we're trying our very best here. And we do have policies and implementations that are trying to get you to better growth. She's saying that the impediments to growth, such as infrastructure, access to internet, we're trying to fix those things. And we can only do that at a staged pace. But she needed help to do that. And none of the other two members on her panel could help her in.
Yeah, but I don't agree. I don't agree.
Yes.
And I think part of the challenge is what optics are we using to assess the content or the delivery, the structure, all of the things that we're talking about. Because PNP has more ground to cover because they are trying to look the work, they're trying to get the work.
Yes.
The JLP has the work. And so there are two different kind of trajectories. So they had different talking points and different selling points. But the larger question is, when we talk about the content of the debate, JLP is articulating that it's a safer bet and that PNP is a riskier choice. That is what I got from the debate, that one has to direct one's attention to the reality that, look, we are safer. Yes, we haven't grown as much as we intend to, but do you want now to give the other person an opportunity to remove some of the advances that we've made? That for me is the larger question.
Then you didn't get any question arising from the PNP's presentation, Jeremy?
Yes, I did, because there were 17 questions.
Yeah. What did you see them saying? What do you see them saying?
I see the PNP saying that we can do better than they have done, and we can do this more equitably. I think the deceit in that kind of perspective.
You call it a deceit.
Hold on,
No,
hold on. Let him use the road he wants to use, and then you can come in. Go ahead, Doctor.
The deceit in that argument is that you cannot do that kind of social equity transformation, the social revolution, without stability.
But I don't think, hang on, I want to say this quickly.
Yes,
now,
Clyde,
allow me,
quickly, and then we go to
I want to
social
say
media.
this quickly.
Yes.
The PNP, during the debate, did not at all deny that. In fact, what they're saying is that the foundation that we have here, we can build on that foundation.
No, they said that they built the foundation.
Hang on. I'm just saying, if you say to me the argument is weak, but to use deceit and then use that as the example is rather loaded.
All right, just hold on for me. Just hold on for me, please, Clyde. Hold on, Dr. McAlpin. Let me go to Jamila Maitland because we're taking some comments from social media. Hashtag TVJ Debates 2025. What do you have there, Jamila?
Thank you so much, Emily. So we have been talking to our friends or receiving some feedback from our friends on Facebook, Instagram, and X about their reactions from tonight's debate. And we are gonna be carrying some of them right now.
Yes.
So we have Shamara Kramer, and she says, low unemployment, but everybody in the workplace is highly stressed because of low income. We're gonna take some more. Kian says there is no, quote, live within our means, end quote. The cost of food, utilities, and housing takes away most of our income. You could take a couple more. Scorpion says, no more debate without a fact-checking clerk. No
That's
more
true.
eloquent lies, in quote, in a national debate. And we saw this response coming up over and over and over again, even in debate night 1.
A
We
lot of lies
have,
coming from the
what
Jamaican Labour
non-taxable
Party.
revenue sources will the government employ to cover tax strains? We could take 2 more or 1 more. I'm concerned about wages for hotel workers. We saw that especially on our YouTube feed from persons living in Western Jamaica and those who are on the North Coast as well. So we have Shanoy saying, Favour is a great finance minister. She's just not a good public speaker. We saw that comment coming in a few times.
Yes.
And
Yes.
in response to Julian Robinson, we saw people, more praising his response as being timely, being more coherent, and the content being there as well.
Right.
So-
So I believe we're coming up
This
on a
is
break
to
now.
tell
When we
you
come back, we'll
how well
perhaps get down to some
social media is monitoring the
analysis.
space
It was on the
and
members
is
of
being
the economy.
honest
Keep sending your
about
comments
what
to
is
hashtag
happening.
TVJ Debates
And based on
2025,
what you
and we'll
can
take them right
hear
after
from the
this break.
comments coming from social media, I think they're all calling it for the People's National Party because, as one of the analysts on the panel says, the other 2 was just not backing up Dana Dixon. Of course, and the eloquent lie that the social media person is referring to is pretty much a lot of what Dana Dixon did tonight, because Dana Dixon told a lot of eloquent lies tonight. In context to the feeds coming in from social media, Keisha asks the very relevant question: is your life better off? And when you listen to the texts that have been read, where people are talking about the price of food, cost of living in general, rent and everything, and the low wages, it speaks to what the people of Jamaica are feeling across the country. The question that was coming from those in Western and Northern Jamaica who work within the tourism sector. So by all means, from you can see where it's going for social media. It's going to be called for the People's National Party. And as we saw the performances, Peter Bunting and Julian Robinson was outstanding. Keisha picked up herself and she did brilliant as well. As I said, Dana Dixon, to use the phrase by social media, the eloquent lies. Dana Dixon came with a lot of that. Chris Tufton came with a lot of anger. Let us. But the JLP analyst, the Rasta guy, now make no sense.
Analysis. I'm Emily Shields, and I rejoin in studio Matthew White, who is officer with the Jamaica Association for Debating and Empowerment, also development economist Dr. Chris Stokes, and on electronic platform Political Sciences Dr. Jermaine McAlpin, and political analyst Clyde Williams. If we could just queue up that question, the very first question asked by Andrea Chisholm about the 3.5 million for the movement in the income tax threshold, and the response by Julian Robinson to that question, and then the rebuttal. Let's have that.
Question, Andrew. We are committed to implementing the 3.5 threshold starting April 2026. This will be funded from revenue growth, which currently, based on the 1% growth, is projected to generate an additional revenue of $140 billion over a 3-year period. Additionally, we expect within the envelope that exists in the budget has four main components. You have debt servicing, you have salaries and wages, you have the capital budget, and then you have the programmatic budget. As a political party, we would have our own priorities, and we will look at the programmatic budget and make adjustments there. But we will begin implementing the 3.5 million threshold April 2026. However, there are other programs that we have announced that once we assume office, we will immediately, within the envelope that exists for programs, see how we will implement them. For example, ensuring that every needy child gets a hot meal per day. The first in family who goes to university to have a full scholarship. And also the $500,000 grant, which will be given to young first-time owners. So we are going to ensure that we do this in a responsible way fiscally without affecting the budget.
Thank you, Team PNP. Thank you, Team JLP, your rebuttal.
Lies, lies, lies. It cannot be done without imposing new taxes on the backs of Jamaicans. Your 3.5 is the biggest political scam since the history of Jamaica. It cannot be done. You were the people who said when we introduced the 1.5 that it couldn't be done. It would wreck the budget. How do you get from 1.5
Pick
to
her up in a scandal
3.5?
bag, Gerald.
It's 3.5 now,
Push her
right?
over the gully.
It used to be 2.3, 3.2, all over the place. Can't be done.
That's the first question coming out of that debate tonight. Let me come to you, Clyde. That question, a lot of it was carried through the debate. You heard the response from Julian Robinson, 140 billion over 3 years, by my calculation, 46.6 billion yearly, and they intend to start this program in 2026.
PNP win again,
all of the other programs.
Favor didn't
Is that
turn up
even
at
workable?
all. Dana
Well,
came
let me
with
tell you something.
eloquent
I'm not
lies.
going to be here trying to work the
With a
numbers.
whole heap of
It's a
dirty
party
jazz
debate
and
trying to
anger.
target the people who they think they're based to come out and vote for them. But so I'm just saying, I don't have the ability to do that. But I'll say this, that his response was clear. He says, the growth that the JLP is experiencing, bringing in 140 billion, we're going to look at that to get some of the money. He also says there are four main things on the budget. And he says they're going to look at the programmatic budget to see if they can reallocate some of those resources. And then he finally, when on his rebuttal, he said it's going to cost $55 billion. He says it's going to cost. So I think in terms of how it comes over to party supporters listening and people looking information, he came over very strong. Favor's position was it can't work. It can't work. It can't work without new taxes. Now that lacked analysis. She didn't rebut whether or not he could use the money from the 1%. She should have looked at it and said the 140 billion, that 1% is not available. She didn't look at whether or not and rebut the programmatic reallocation of the resources. And that's what our job should have been. So on that particular question, Julian answered it from the very get-go, and later he says again, let me remind you of what I said. So that's how I look at that particular subject.
Yes.
But the finance minister responded to it later on.
Later on, it did come back up. Yes, it came back up later on.
She did respond to it later on to say that $140 billion in question is not altogether there and available. She did indicate that.
So the growth is not real.
No,
that's a separate point.
Million.
No, I'm just saying, what would she be saying there? Where is it?
No,
I didn't say she did, but
I'm
not saying you said it. I'm saying
responded to it.
Yes.
I'm saying the interrogation would be in relation to, he says it's to be, but when she says it's not available, it doesn't answer the question.
All right. So
it's not a rebuttal.
Yes, let me hear you, Dr. Stokes, on get down to brass tacks now.
The problem is that we're trying to get to brass tacks, and the idea is to not get to brass tacks. Right? That is the issue. And again, we need to just zoom out a little bit and understand the big picture. And just to get back to the previous discussion before the break, what the PNP and Peter Bunting in part, the point that they're trying to make is that we have all sacrificed to get this macroeconomic stability.
Yeah.
And the time has now come for that hollowed out middle class to be rebuilt, for the nurse and the doctor to benefit from that. And if you live in Jamaica, that resonates with you. Because people for years and years have been saying, we'll keep chasing down this net international reserves and this debt, and I'm asked to sacrifice, and I am getting poorer, right? So I think there's a finger on the pulse in that particular regard. So the 3.5% aligns with giving something back to that group. Now it has some issues, frankly.
Yes.
Mainly just from an economics point of view.
Yes, funding.
Is that the funding is one, but that sort of tax relief is not very effective at generating growth.
Yes.
Right? Because people aren't going to use that additional money to invest and save. They're going to use it to pay the school fee that they couldn't pay last month. Or buy an extra thing that they couldn't buy, which makes it way back into the economy, but is not very effective.
Some invest
so
it?
there's
No.
Sorry, go ahead
Wouldn't
again.
some invest it? Wouldn't some invest it?
I am sure there'll be some savings going on, but again, just from my experience of living on the ground in Jamaica, I am sure that if people get that break, they're going to buy some new tires for their car, and they're going to fix back the thing on the fridge that has been fixed.
Or build a room on the house.
Emily.
The bathroom.
Well, yes, let's get down to who is it, who had the content, who had the delivery, who brought it tonight, and which team won the debate.
Yes, this is what I'm waiting
I'm going to start with you, Matthew. Where do you stand on this?
I think we need to, well, I'm going to be frank about the situation for the Labour Party. I think they were not cohesive in terms of messaging.
Yes.
And it was really up to Dr. Dixon to give us in the most abstract way this idea that I thought was rather good. That the truth of the matter is we cannot afford the length and breadth of the social platform the PNP is implementing. And the programs that they haven't on those programs that they're going to cut, and the growth that we get from this current economy isn't enough to support it. And that we need to support the Labour Party's current movements and the steps that they're taking towards long-term growth, because it's more sustainable. But that was not, that didn't come across through the speakers on the Labour Party, except through Dr. Dixon.
So
Minister Williams just isn't a good speaker, we all know that. And Christopher Tufton made really poor decisions about when to hit and where. I thought after the first Finsack attack that he really should have stopped. And the Peter Bunting thing was particularly disappointing as well. But on the PNP side, they made a very clear argument that nobody expected them to, well, amongst young people specifically, which was to justify the reasoning for that social platform to say, we have all, and something that started at the social debates actually with Damian Crawford was them taking ownership of the fiscal rules by them saying, we were in government first when fiscal rules started to take effect, and you inherited a government on the path to growth. We think that growth should go towards now the people of Jamaica. That came across clearly in every single speaker.
So who won the debate, you say?
The PNP very clearly.
Okay. What about you, Doctor?
My view, and I have to be very careful whatever personal biases I may have to put aside. But if I had landed here from Mars this afternoon, it would have frankly been very clear to me that the PNP team on the night was in a debate. Was far better in a debate, which is a spoken activity, was far better. The PNP seems flummoxed. They seem to be calling some timeout like they're on Schools Challenge quiz. I wasn't sure what's going on.
The who?
The JLP.
The JLP.
Yeah, the JLP.
Oh, they were calling timeout?
I don't know what they were doing. They're like trying to reorganize themselves. I think Julian Robinson was very strong from the beginning.
Yes.
More like a machine gun.
Yes.
And then you had Peter Bunting coming in, very solid with specific things, hitting the target, hitting the vision of the PNP for 2025. And of course, you have, to me, the question of the night from Keisha Anderson. And I think the JLP had a lot more ammunition in the tank, ammunition than they used tonight. And I would definitely give the PNP this debate.
No, man, you have to give me the last say, man. I'm on home side. You have to give Jeremy the run.
No, go ahead, Clyde. Go ahead.
Clyde, go ahead.
No, I yield to Jeremy. I yield to Jeremy.
Well, so maybe I was watching a different debate.
Right.
But you see, I debated. God rest Norma Rochester's soul. It's now not a question of who has the louder argument, it's who have the sounder arguments. And so I heard a lot of loud arguments from the PNP and not necessarily sound arguments. I know that the rubric doesn't have something to indicate facts, and there were several inaccuracies with things that they quoted. So I am not necessarily going to make this about a debate as to who sounded better and who was more prepared. I'm a political scientist. I have to structure and judge based on facts. So for me, marginally so, I think the JLP's message, I'm not sure where others saw it. I think the message certainly was clear. Stay with the safer choice. The PNP had more to prove. The burden of proof was with them, and so they had to make a different kind of case.
Clyde Williams.
For me, the JLP marginally won.
Yes, Clyde.
Okay. In a political debate, it is not so much what we think. I put myself in the mind of the voters and so on, and I think in terms of the base of both parties, the base is going to be happy today, because the base is going to be see how Dana batting out here. They're going to hear Tufton talking about the achievements and so on. So the JLP base is going to be happy. So for the JLP, that is going to be a victory. Any team that's going to be a victory. For the PNP, their base is happy as well, in terms of the performance of their debaters and so forth, and the perception that Julian Robinson in particular is ready to be the finance minister. When I match up Julian and I'm looking at how people looking at how he's responding to questions, he responds and then he punches. He responds and he punches. I don't agree with Jermaine that they made just nice. No, they made some solid points.
I didn't say
yes,
that.
But I'm just expressing.
Let him finish, because we have to go. Let him finish.
So I'm going to give the PNP. So I'm saying both sides would have their base up and running, but the PNP are clear winners in the debate tonight.
All right. I've got to go, and I clearly was watching a different debate as well, Dr. McAlpin, from all of the other guests. I didn't like Julian Robinson because it was quite unnatural, the posture that he came with. He was aggressive, it was loud. He's somebody who I didn't recognize in this debate tonight. The best debater for me was Dr. Dana Dixon. I think Tufton did well, but he got a little bit in the tatters and so forth. I also think that whole thing with him and Peter Bunting, perhaps they should have taken it outside. I'm not sure what Keisha Anderson's purpose was actually about. And Favour Williams is what Favour Williams is. She's soft-spoken, but she is solid. I think the JLP won this particular debate this evening. So we're up on
from everybody else on her panel tonight. How could she? I mean, what Emily Shields wants to say, even up 1-1, not a backside, no go so. No, don't go so, Emily Shields. You know that you have been paid to say, or you have been coerced to say, give me one. Julian Robinson was outstanding tonight. He was a class act. Only you alone, poor Emily, have not seen Julian's performance. Favour, where you say only soft-spoken, where did you see Favour tonight? Emily Shields. Because everybody all night has been looking around for the Minister of Finance. Sadly, the debate has ended, and the government finance minister, who is leading the charge for the government, has not turned up. As we said, Dr. Tufton turned up with a lot of spotted jaws and a wagging tongue and a heart full. That's what Dr. Tufton turned up with. Of course, Dana come with eloquent lie. Then just bring Dana for her lip. That's all they bring Dana there for. Because Dana don't know what she talk about. But then, if you watch Dana Dixon at the press briefing on a weekly basis, Dana good pan her lip. If you don't understand how to work out the Dana like, as you know, setting face in a one way where you believe say goes the way she talks. What are we deal with Juliet and our gunman, them where she a kill off tomorrow morning, Globalists? When you come tomorrow morning, I'm going to talk about Juliet. I'm going to ask Juliet why she a kill off our own gunman, them. After 5 in the morning, you know. So, me I go get a little sleep, to come back on 1 o'clock, payment time, which is 7 o'clock phone time a morning. Thank you very much for being here tonight on Global TV. The People's National Party has taken the second round of the debate. And of course, we know for sure on Thursday, when the angry, belligerent Prime Minister stands across Mark Golden, it will be an onslaught coming from Mark Golden and an angry tirade of the Prime Minister lying on steroid on Thursday night. Thank you very much for being here. Lovely to have your support. If you have not yet been a subscriber to the channel, please do give us a follow. So when we go live, you certainly will get our notification. Thank you very much for watching. Good morning, good evening from Global TV.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.